Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, this is Todd Graves from Seegrid, and you're listening to the New Warehouse Podcast. And today's safety tip: material handling operations are some of the most dangerous jobs in warehouses. Automation can remove that risk and make your facility safer and more efficient because robots don't get tired or bored and they can't get injured.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I will be joined by Todd Graves, who is the CTO at Seegrid. The last time we talked to Seegrid, we caught up with them at ProMat DX, and we were talking about the things that they were showing off there and showcasing in the digital format. But today we're going to catch up with Todd, and we're going to talk to him about Seegrid a little more, but we're also going to talk to him about this recent launch of something called Blue Labs, which is pretty exciting. So he's going to tell us all about that, and he's the best one that can tell us, I'm sure, better than me. So I'm going to welcome Todd to the show. So Todd, welcome. How are you?
Thanks, Kevin. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely happy to have you on and to connect with you for the first time here as well. So why don't you give us a little bit of, maybe for people that are like not familiar with Seegrid, give us kind of a brief overview, and then tell us a little bit too about what you do in your role as a CTO there.
Sure. So Seegrid is the leader in autonomous mobile robots for material handling. We were founded in 2004 by Hans Moravec, world-famous roboticist, been working on computer vision for robotics since the 1970s. Seegrid is really the fruition of his vision, no pun intended, creating vision-based robots. We are today in customer operations. We have over 5 million vehicle miles driven in real-life customer operations with 0 personnel safety incidents. So that's something... Wow. It's a focus of ours, and we're very proud of. I joined Seegrid in March of this year as their Chief Technology Officer. In that role, I'm bringing in my experience from previous jobs leading engineering and product development to help the business continue to scale. We've been increasing revenue year over year profitably, and we want to take the next steps with our customers and continue to help them automate some of the most important operations in their facilities.
All right, very interesting. And the zero safety incidents with personnel is a great thing to hear as well, because I know there's a lot of sometimes some people in the industry that are skeptical about the robots and, if there'll be a safety issue and, what if they, all of a sudden get a mind of their own and they want to just, run over everybody. So it's good to hear that, you guys have been doing it for quite a while and there's been no safety incidents. So it means the technology is really solid and that you guys are thinking that all the way through as well. So you mentioned you recently just joined in March this year. So, a couple months in. So I'm curious, what really attracted you to Seegrid, and what is the most exciting thing with Seegrid kind of as you're starting out here?
Well, there's a lot of things that attracted me to Seegrid. It being an industry leader, the focus on safety, and really creating products that are making a difference, literally saving lives, making some of the most dangerous operations in industry safer. A robot can't get hurt. Robots don't have turnover. They don't get fatigued. They don't get bored. And that's the source of a lot of the safety issues in material handling. And then there's a company culture at Seegrid that is just phenomenal. I'm about 100 days in.
Okay.
It was clear to me as I was interviewing, but it's become even more clear that I'm blessed to be part of just a really, really strong team. And being able to come into a place that was founded by, somebody as well known as Hans Moravec and continue to put his vision into practice I'm really fortunate to be in the position I'm in. And then finally, the commitment to product development and engineering, and that the business is continuing to invest in technology. And the recent launch of Blue Labs is just further evidence of that fact.
Okay, interesting, very cool. And it's great to hear about the culture as well, because it's always something that's, I think, from the warehouse side too, is it's important to try and establish that culture. And I think if you have solution providers that have that strong culture as well, then you're able to kind of mesh well and when they come in and want to work with you and things of that nature. So it's really good to hear on that front. So you mentioned the Blue Labs, which is the reason why we're here to talk, right?
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Blue Labs, which just recently launched. What is Blue Labs and what is the goal there with Blue Labs?
Yeah, so Blue Labs is our internal advanced development and research and development group within engineering.
Okay.
This has been true at other companies I've worked at as well, that, even when you're a highly innovative company, if you're doing your innovation and your research and development in the context of product development, oftentimes the most innovative aspects can get pushed aside by the urgency of the moment. There may be a customer issue. There may be a new product development that is having some schedule issues. And you tend to say, well, I can get back to that long-range innovation later. I need to solve this more immediate problem. By creating a dedicated group that does nothing but research and development around our AMRs, it protects our investment in long-range product improvement. I've done this before at other companies. I think it's important to protect R&D. I was previously at General Electric, where I worked at their corporate research and development facility. Okay. It was actually the original corporate R&D lab founded, with the company when Thomas Edison started GE. And I saw the dividends that paid. And even a company that's, so much smaller than GE, there are benefits to be had by focusing on research and development and putting dedicated resources, and in my mind, your best engineers, what I call your engineering athletes, into those organizations.
Very interesting. And so I'm curious, I guess prior to Blue Labs, what was the R&D situation? I mean, because it sounds like it was maybe, and I think this is it's pretty relatable, I would say, from like a warehouse perspective on the like process improvement side. Like you mentioned, you have people that are, supposed to be doing like, process improvement or in your case, research and development. But like you said, there's an emergency or something, a customer has an issue and, you pull that resource and then all of a sudden, slowly that resource is not necessarily doing what they were actually supposed to be doing, right?
So fortunately, being a startup, Seegrid had a focus on research and development. I mean,
Right.
they created a product from the ground up. But as you get out into customer operations, that's when those urgent issues can start to consume resources and take your focus away from long-term technology development. We still do a lot of technology development within the context of developing and launching products. When we launched Blue Labs, we put it under the leadership of Brennan Sellner, who actually is our second longest tenured engineer behind Hans Moravec. And my charter to Brennan was, I want the team thinking 3 to 5 years out, which for an industry moving as quickly as AMRs are, that's a lifetime. But I need them thinking beyond the current, almost beyond the current technology horizon.
Right.
I also told them I almost expect the team to fail more often than they're successful. And I think that's important when you're doing advanced R&D, that, use a sports metaphor, you're taking home run swings, you're not hitting singles.
Okay.
And I want the team to be trying to do really, really hard things that have a huge payoff when we put them into products in the future.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because, it gives them then so much almost kind of like creative freedom in their thinking. Like they don't necessarily have to play it safe, right? Which is a great thing for innovation. And so I'm curious, as you look at the Blue Labs and the team that you've kind of given the assignment to build, what types of experiences and backgrounds are the people that you're building this team with coming from? So
we have PhD level talent in the group, but we have a bias toward what I call engineering athletes, which they may have some very deep technical expertise in an area of robotics or computer vision or mathematics, but they tend to be the kind of engineers or scientists who have a natural curiosity beyond their field of expertise. So, for example, if they're running an experiment, they may lay out a printed circuit board, get it made, and you know what? They need some firmware to run on it. Well, they're just going to go figure it out and they're going to write the code themselves because that's the quickest way to get the experiment going. Kind of those natural tinkerers who, again, even though they've got some very particular expertise, they also tend to work in every part of the problem that's interesting to them.
Very interesting. Yeah. And I can imagine, there's a huge amount of knowledge power going on there, which is a great thing for the industry. And so, I'm curious, you kind of mentioned in there that they're thinking 3 to 5 years out. So what do you really think? I guess let's start with, how do you picture today's landscape within the automation robotics world, within the material handling industry?
So the landscape, at least in terms of the inputs that we can take advantage of, the sensors that we have available to us, there's a rapid evolution happening. And so that's one of the reasons, we set up a very flexible architecture in our robots so that even though at our core is a vision-based system, so we use cameras and math basically to create a very reliable navigation system. Since that original concept, we've layered in 2D LiDARs and then 3D LiDARs. We use machine learning and artificial intelligence. We're now putting data analytics packages on what we call our data exhaust to create additional insights for our customers. Okay. So, if you look at our journey, we started with a very particular way that we see the world and turn that into reliable navigation. But as the world around us has developed additional sensor technologies that we can take advantage of, we integrate them into our system and fuse all that information together to make, even further improvements to how our robots can operate. Blue Labs becomes a way to do rapid experimentation. If a new sensor technology comes out, whether it's in, the AMR field or it's in some adjacent area, we can bring in that technology, do benchtop experiments really quickly, see if it's going to pan out. And if so, then we put it into our product teams to get implemented into a product.
We'll be back after a quick break. You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Got it. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting, all the technology that goes behind it, and, there's so much advancements happening and so many things to, essentially move some boxes around. Yeah, it's pretty complex, but I think it's much needed, especially with everything that's been going on in the industry and the environment with labor, and like you mentioned, the safety issues and making some of those tasks and jobs a lot safer to be happening as well. I'm curious, so we talked a little bit about the current landscape, but what do you see? I mean, I guess within that current landscape and in the space, what are some of like the big holes or the big issues that are out there now that needs to be solved for robotics, or that robotics could potentially solve within material handling warehousing industry?
Well, I think, there's a core set of operations that are being automated today, but the vision in the future is the dark warehouse, right? Where it's completely automated from the loading dock, incoming loading dock, to the outgoing loading dock. Mm-hmm. A lot of focus on interoperability and the software layer to pull it all together is important for not only a company like Seegrid, but the collective industry to solve together.
Yeah, definitely. I think the interoperability thing is a big thing, especially with, I guess, the release from Mass Robotics recently too, as well. And when we talk about the Blue Labs and the mission there, we're talking, like you said, home run swings, right? And 3 to 5 years out. So in that, I guess, context, what really is, I guess, defined as a home run swing within the industry now, and what do you think things will be looking like 3 to 5 years from now?
So I'd be reluctant to reveal what home run swings we're taking right now.
No secrets.
You'll get to see that one the next press release. But an example of a project I can talk about is we're working on, now this isn't 3 to 5 years out, but because we're in year one, we wanted also some quick wins. We're working on some advanced simulation techniques that will allow us to launch products more quickly in the future. So, it's if we can simulate a problem before we put pen to paper and start to design the solution in a robot, it allows us to expand our solution space and quickly evaluate a multitude of different solutions and then commit one to the design process. So we've got to focus on better simulation techniques so we can simulate our customer environment and then find a robotic solution for them.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting because it's almost like you're trying to develop, something that will help you to develop even further, like down the road. So it's right. It's pretty smart and pretty interesting stuff. So, I mean, do you think, you mentioned the dark warehouses in there. So, I mean, do you think that the dark warehouse is a realistic thing within, the next 10 years or sooner?
10 years is a lifetime in this industry and in particular in automation.
Right.
I think the dark warehouse is a metaphor. There's always going to be human beings running the operation. Human beings are very good at dealing with unknown, unforeseen circumstances, and that happens in any kind of complex operation.
Oh, yeah.
And so, really, the automation is taking humans out of the routine and putting them in jobs where their brain power, their mind power is most useful. So, Do I think we're ever going to have a literally dark warehouse? Probably not, because of the complexity of our customers' operations.
So I think, what do you think then the future warehouse looks like? Is it like, you just have a couple people working there, or we go down from, these facilities that have a couple hundred people to just a couple people there kind of managing exceptions? Or what do you think about that?
No, I still think there's going to be a significant level of employment in warehouses and distribution and manufacturing, but the jobs will be, more optimizing the material flow. Yes, dealing with exceptions. There's a role for humans to continue to increase the efficiency of the operation. And then the AMRs and AGVs become the operational arm of those improvements.
Yeah, very interesting. I think it's interesting too, like the concept of, these AMRs and AGVs and different robotics and automation coming into the space, and I guess giving the opportunity for some people to kind of elevate their job level because of this automation, and now being able to deal with that. So I mean, how do you think the industry is preparing or can prepare, maybe from a company or like one of your customers' perspectives, on how to train and ensure that they have the type of workforce in place that will be able to handle these levels of technology and automation, in the next couple of years?
Well, I think a lot of it is incumbent on companies like Seegrid to reduce the training load, right? We don't want anyone to have to be a roboticist to run a fleet of robots in the operation. So, we have a big focus on our human machine interface to make it easy and intuitive. What happens though is, the people who have been in more traditional material handling jobs in the facility, they have a lot of expertise built up over years about how material should flow through the facility, whether it's manufacturing or distribution or a warehouse. They're going to be the ones who are going to, interact with our system and find the best applications for the robots and work hand in hand with our software to optimize those operations. But I think, we don't want to have a high degree of training for any operator to use our software. And that's been a big focus at Seegrid.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to hear, because I think it's good to make it as simple as possible to help integrate, and then also reduce those initial frustration points when you're adopting new technology, and make it easy and really integrate it into the operation and the flow of everything. So really, really interesting stuff, and I'm excited to see what the Blue Labs team is going to come up with, and what some of these home run swings are, and if the home runs are gonna go way out of the park, or what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be very interesting to keep up with you guys at Seegrid over the next couple years, and even couple months. It sounds like, maybe, with the mentions of how fast things are moving in the industry that you did there. So I appreciate you coming on the show today and talking to me about this. How can people find out more information about Seegrid and find out more information about Blue Labs as well?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. And it's very easy to get in touch with us. Just go to www.seegrid.com. We have a pretty easy contact form and a chat bot to get you in touch with the right people. And as Blue Labs graduates or knocks the ball over the fence, we'll be putting information on our website, and we'll come back and talk to you, Kevin, as well.
All right. Sounds great. So thanks so much for your time today, and thank you for coming on the show.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.